Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Panther Airsoft Folding Table Talk. This is episode 80. Can you believe it, Mac? It's episode 80. That's
We are officially old.
yeah, I mean we were happy we were at that retirement age and now we're at that 80 and I'm kind of like, are we going to make it up to 100? That's like
Do
20.
we make it? Do we even make it? I mean, I'm just kidding.
Are we
I'm
going to
kidding.
quit
We
after this? I don't know.
no, we've got tons of stuff to go over. And
All right.
speaking of that, lead us into today's topic.
All right, it's gonna be deep dive into the AK platform. We've done a lot of deep dives before, and yeah, they get into pretty in depth stuff. A lot of the history, a lot of the airsoft industry, and yeah, we usually have guests to come in here,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's gonna be a interesting topic. Before that, I guess. Mac, do you want to address the elephant in the
Well, okay,
room?
well, yeah, okay. So a lot of people might feel uncomfortable about us talking about this right now just because of how it ties into but we are going to stay away politically as best as we can. We understand that there's big elephant in the room going on with geopolitics and everything, and unfortunately for the people of Ukraine and Russia and the rest of the world that's feeling this pinch right now, it's unfortunate. We don't like it. We're larpers. We play war. We don't actually like war. So it's really sad to see that stuff going on. But we couldn't put this episode off any longer. The amount of messages I was getting about people being like, when are you going to finally do an AK deep dive versus how many times we've talked about the M4 or gone into other things. And they're like, yo, are you guys ever going to circle back to that? So we kind of had to stick a pin in it. We had to do it. And then Russia decided to invade Ukraine. But that being said, guys, this is where we are today. We're going to be talking about the AK variant and where it is historically, pop culturally, and where it lands with airsoft and everything like that.
Okay, thank you. Um, all right. Well,
Okay.
here we go. So deep dive into the AK platform. Um, oh boy, okay, let me get ready here because it's gonna be a long one for the history segment. But it is a well-known history, so if I get it wrong, guys, I did all my research here. Please let me know down in the comments. But I did all I can to do the research. Going through Wikipedia and as well as all kinds of different books that people released in regards to the history. But yeah, here we go. So Kalashnikov rifle, a series of automatic rifle based on the original design by none other than Mikhail Kalashnikov with the last name Kalashnikov. Um, yeah, I had Jill actually mention me how you pronounce the name in Cyrillic, and it's basically the same thing as saying it in English. So I tried my best to make sure it was accurate, but she said, yeah, it's just Mikhail Kalashnikov. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Uh,
Am I saying it right? Oh, you're just
yeah,
missing an accent. It's
yeah,
like,
no, you're
okay.
just missing an accent. That's what she said. So they're officially known as the automatic Kalashnikov. Um, it's reliable and easy to use. That a child can use it. That's a common sort of theme that happens with the AK. With a lot of third world countries, is it's cheap and easy, and a child can use it. That's basically why it's very popular. In some parts of the world, they're often, they often do. It's cheap, it's easy to manufacture, readily available. Um, it's the first true assault rifle. Now we'll get into the history portion of this.
Hmm.
Before we do that, do we want to introduce the guest Mac?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, we are going to be sitting here for quite a long time. So, Professor Poi, I appreciate you for giving us a little break there. Yeah. So, guys, we've brought on three members of our community and stuff like that who have stepped up. They are AK owners themselves. They are AK fans. They probably know this platform better than we do. I've played with an AK. I personally only own a SEMA AK-47, but it's good. I love it. Other than that, that's the one I have and everything like that. I have played with a few other ones. They're great. And that is why we've brought you guys on here to fulfill that void that we are missing in that. Poi, I know you've got a container full and stuff like that, but we are unfortunately missing our tech today. He is MIA due to sicknesses other than the big bad virus that's going on right now. So that being said, thank you guys for being on here. Really appreciate it, guys. And one by one, I'll take you through. So basically, we've got our simple questions here, guys, that we always ask our guests, and we will hit them up with you now. So, Scott, we're going to go with you first, just because you're the first one on my Zoom list here. So who are you, and how long have you been playing Airsoft?
Um, well, I'm Scott, obviously. I've only been playing Airsoft since last year. It hasn't been that long. Couple friends invited me out, and yeah, it's been fun and somewhat expensive, but it's been good. So
Awesome.
I've enjoyed it.
Well, that's great. Honestly, I think a lot of people's stories start with that group of friends that kind of like push them into it. And then
Yeah.
everyone's kind of rabbit hole is deeper than others and, might not be as deep as others and stuff like that. So it's always great. So that being said, why the AK and what AK do you own?
Well, I like light machine guns.
Mhm.
And I was deciding between what to get. So I ended up getting a RPK 16 from LCT. And basically looking at the field before I bought anything, I noticed there was the fire restriction on for city. So I thought, man, it would really suck to go there with something that was stuck in full auto, like an M249 or something like that, and not being able to use it in city. So I looked at what had semi-auto, and it's like, oh, RPK's got that. I like the RPK.
It's a smart move.
So I got one of those.
Honestly,
Yep.
that's actually really good.
That's actually a
Because
smart
you'd be
move.
surprised the amount of people I have met in my time at Panther now who have actually not been aware of the game restriction and then bought that gun and been like, what do you mean I can't run this game, run this gun in and it's like, no, you cannot go clear kill house with a full auto machine gun. Like that's not how it works, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So that leads us to our last question for you, Scott. So what is Airsoft to you? Is it a hobby or have you started to treat it like a sport? Where do you fit into that?
It's definitely more a hobby for me. But I would not deny anyone who said it was a sport. Some people definitely are more into it probably than I am, and I would say it could be a sport.
Hey, it's okay, man. You're still pretty new in the rabbit hole there. So we love to have you back in a future episode and we'll check back in with where you are. Okay, so that takes us to our next guest there, Jesse, or you let me know that your name there before too is RC. Yeah, so the rest of the community might know you already as RC, which is great to have you on. So Jesse, who are you and how long have you been?
I'm Jesse, obviously.
Before you start, I love your shirt, by the way. Can we see?
Oh, it's very themed. Very themed.
Yeah.
Very themed.
Came well dressed.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so I've been playing Airsoft. I've been to Panther twice now. Yeah, twice. I went when I was living in Alberta. My one friend in college, he introduced me to it. He brought me along, gave me a lever action rifle.
Really?
I was like, I kind of got hooked.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a weird start. That's a weird start.
Right? I've always enjoyed cowboy guns and whatnot. So he's like, oh, here's lever action.
Nice.
Here you go. I was like, sick deal. Start with that. I was hooked, but I never really got right into it until more recently when it's like, well, my brother's been into it for a while, and so I was like, oh, I've got someone I can play with, and he was like, well, my buddy's selling his AK, and I was like, sick, I love AKs. By the way, so since about last September, I've been into it, got like a full kit pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, and then that leads us to that. Our next one there is why the AK and what AK do you?
The AK, because simply I love the aesthetic of it. I think it's just thick looking gun. It's not really plain, not really plain Jane looking like an AR can be. And also it's like really it's the only way I can legally own an AK in Canada because I am firearms owner and firearms enthusiast. So yeah, and otherwise my AK is an AK-74 by Rifle Dynamics out of Las Vegas. And yeah, it's
beautiful.
Sweet. Nice.
Okay, awesome. All right, and then that leads us to our last one there for you. Is Airsoft a hobby or do you line up as a sport?
For me personally, it's definitely a hobby. It's definitely something I do for fun. It's also, but to me also, it's something I can also train my firearms use like firearm mechanics in a more fast paced environment compared to sitting in a shooting lane at a range.
Much cheaper, I know,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Especially right now.
I feel like a lot of us here that do have a lot of firearms experience with real steel and stuff can agree on that factor, and then also have the appreciation of what it is to play with toy guns. But that being said,
like I've last 2 times I've gone to Panther, it's been a blast, and I just love to use my AK. It's like I guess we can get into that later, but otherwise I can definitely see how people would like, from what I've watched on YouTube, definitely see how people can call it a sport. But it's definitely another one of my hobbies.
Yeah.
Now,
One of your many hobbies, I hope.
Yeah, of course. I feel like we all have very many expensive hobbies. All right. That leads us to our third guest, and thanks for being on here, Morris. Okay. Morris, I can see your name, others can't.
Okay.
Morris, who are you? How long have you been playing Airsoft?
Obviously Morris, as my name has been said before. This is going on my 4th year now, actually. When rounds around this summer, it's gonna be about my 4th year. I got into it when I just asked on local towns, because I'm actually in Vancouver right now. I come down to Panther, though. I try at least once a year with a bunch of my buddies.
Well, actually, yes. You know what? Let's take a second to highlight that. So I understand that you are a member of our community, but you are from outside. What is it? Europe and Cologne?
Cologne, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
About 5 hours out.
Hey, always appreciate the guys coming down from up there and stuff like that. I know I've had a experience playing with you guys when you guys are in town, and then I've also had experience playing with you guys up at the Sims and stuff. Always a great community when we all come together. So
always appreciate
you taking the time to come on, and appreciate you being part of the Discord as well and stuff like that. You're again, we're all
controversial at times.
Sometimes I think you've definitely ruffled some feathers there the last few days, but here's crossing fingers that
I'm trying to be better.
It's okay, man. I understand, and understand also for others. Sometimes people can misinterpret things because tone is hard under text.
That it is.
So this is not just for you, and this is just a PSA for other people too, because trolling or sarcasm does not play through the way you think it does when you type it out. So that's just for everybody, right? So that'll save everybody hopefully in the future. But so Morris, thanks for being on here. But exactly, you're an AK fan. I know you've definitely talked a lot about your AK and what you've done to it and stuff. So why the AK, and what AK do you have?
Well, the reason for the AK is it actually leads back to when I first started getting into first-person shooters, as I'm sure a lot of the timeline for a lot of airsofters is they play a first-person shooter. They want, hey, I want that in my hands. Yep. So a lot of it was Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 1 with that nice cyclic rate of the AKs.
Nice.
Oh, damn, man. When you prestige the first time, you can unload the gold skin.
Hey, that fire rate has always just drawn me towards the AK platform. Slow and steady, high damage. Okay. And then my AK right now that I'm working on, it's not fully complete, is a highly customized GHK.
Oh, nice.
Right. Yeah, I have seen that you've been posting tidbits on that you have been building that. So that's a good little project for you and stuff. And hopefully you can get that done in a timely manner to be able to appreciate that.
Hope so. It's been a headache. As gas rifles
anytime you're trying to build a gas rifle in Canada, I can imagine that that
spare receiver set here now that I'm not using anymore.
Okay, so that leads us to our last one there. Is airsoft a hobby or a sport? Where do you fall into that category?
It's kind of half and half between a hobby and a sport. I enjoy the sport part, but airsoft is also half of it is just the collection aspect of it for me. I like making unique builds, which takes longer, but I also like the sport. I guess maybe sport's not the right word, but the learning new things. I like learning.
Okay. Yeah,
right.
exactly. The diversity of it and everything like that. And especially always, there's always something that you can learn when it comes to airsoft. I mean, God, here I am like almost 5 years in and, oh my God, I lost track of time. I don't even know where I'm at anymore. Boy, I can't imagine how you feel.
It feels like eons ago, dude.
Eons ago, right? Walking Dead Airsoft. What did I
Mhm.
say?
Yep.
But yeah, everyone brings a different aspect to the game, and we always ask people that question and stuff like that because everyone brings a different level of physicality to it. So I think a lot of us fall into like that centerfold where it's like, I play it as a hobby, but then there's some of those games, some of those moments where it's like, I'm gonna sprint to that
Oh, yeah.
objective and I'm wearing a lot of stuff, and
I haven't ran in a while.
that's a lot. Yeah. And if you're not even the sprinter type, because you don't have to be, look at your step counter. How many steps have you taken today? Like if you're only averaging something like 5,000, 10,000 steps, and all of a sudden you've got like 20,000, 30,000 steps on that step counter from that day, like, that's good. That's more than good. Yeah, you can definitely count that as a sport. But okay, so appreciate you guys being on here. We're definitely going to dive in and pick more of your guys' brains and pick your particular builds, what you guys own particularly, because myself, I don't have my AK here. It's hanging in the back of the shop. But mine's just a simple AEG. I love it. I go out there anytime we need to, play op 4 or do some kind of character. If you guys saw me in the last sim, we were civilians, so we didn't have guns. But I was bringing it up that I
Allegedly.
allegedly. There's multiple characters. But okay, guys, we're gonna sit back. We're gonna let Poi dive into basically the history of the AK variant.
All right. Before I start, I would like to also jump in on what AKs do I have?
Oh, yes.
I have.
I'm sorry, Poi.
I have quite a few
I'm
actually.
sorry. Who are you? and why do you have an AK?
No introductions needed. So actually, like,
How many do you have? You have like 6.
I think I have 6 in the container right now,
Right?
and
Yeah.
they're variants basically of the AK. Let's start off with I started off with an LCT, the classic 74 AK-74 Woodstock. I got it used, like I always get my airsoft guns used. I like the aesthetics that the previous person I've put in because it has a lot of wear marks on it. I just don't like looking at a new airsoft gun and be like, it's too new. I need to scratch it up. I need to throw it in there.
Throw it on the ground. And
So
just
I
kick it around.
I literally got this with dents, with wear marks, with the wood having scratches on it. So that's the look I wanted. So I got it. Pretty good price too. A good friend of mine sold it to me. And I haven't opened a gearbox since at all. Since purchase, and he hasn't done anything to it. It's all default LCT parts, and tried and true to its name. I have also another LCT that is AK-74, but in black flavor. I just got that out of a whim because someone was selling it for cheap, and I'm like, you know what? I'll buy it. I'm just gonna eat some noodles, this week or something. So I bought that. Same thing, AK-74 with just the nicer polymer wood stock, not wood stock, polymer stock, polymer handguard with the rails on it. Of course, being an AK purist, that meme where they go, no, AK is fine. That's literally me, like right there. Like someone gives me an attachment or like a little here.
Irons.
Yeah, irons all the way. Yeah. So that's my collection of like LCT, and then I got a whole bunch of stuff like a SEMA that's in there. There's also that one where it's like
you have the GHK.
Oh no, I wasn't even getting into that yet. I have that AEG.
These are just AEGs. These are just AEGs.
I have that AEG where it's like it has Mikhail Kalashnikov's like face on it, and I don't know. It's like from Walmart or something. I don't even know where it's from. It just showed up in my container, and I'm like, "What the hell is this?"
Well,
it's got
you are the meme team.
Literally the hand grip, the pistol grip is made out of wood, and I'm like so confused, and I'm like, "What is this?" And it fires like crap. So,
it's just a wall gun.
It's just a loaner that I hand out, and yeah, and then of course going to the gas blowbacks, I have the GHK, of course. 2 of them, 3 of them. I don't remember.
I think you have
Um,
3.
Yeah, so there's 3 of them. One is the
Yeah.
classic, again, 74 with the wood and wood stock.
You got that
Yeah.
wood handguard, the
Again-
one we used in the movie.
Yeah,
Remember?
yeah, and then
Yeah.
I got the AKS 74U, which is the shorty version of it.
Yep.
The carbine version or whatever you want to call it. With the fold stock. And there's another one there. It's not really an AK because it doesn't come from like the variants of the AK, but it is Russian. The SVD is basically what I have. It's the Wii SVD. It kicks like a horse. It's huge. And then the next one is the Wii Pmc Ak, which is kind of a weird addition because now I have stagnated like different mags to it. So yeah, I mean it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Typical Wii, but it's one of my not project guns, but like one of my guns that I just got to figure out how it works because it's like somewhat new to me. So that's my AK collection, and then a whole bunch of people have other AKs in the container, but I don't touch them. Yeah, so that's my AK collection, right there. I didn't think that I would be an actual AK fan until I actually got one. After getting one, then I was like, okay, this actually is a very nice gun. We'll get into the ergonomics of things later. But yeah, for me, yeah, I guess you could say I'm a fan because after using it, I pretty much got a whole bunch of them afterwards after first using it. So, moving from AR to AK, I guess that's a natural progression for a lot of airsofters, honestly. But for you guys, I'm sure you started with an AK and then moved on from there. All right, so let's enough of that. Let's go through the history portion here to understand the background of, the Kalashnikov or the Crank, as a lot of people call it. This is going to be a homage to literally Mikhail Kalashnikov because that is his name. That is his pride and joy. This is what he worked on, and this is his history. So, AK, possibly the most iconic, iconic weapon of all time out there. You can tell an AK by just looking at its silhouette, with the curved magazine. That's based. The magazine's curved because it's based out of the ammunition that it uses. It's got a little bit of a taper to it. It's a weapon of choice for a revolution. The base rifle of any rebellion and insurgency around the world. It's been synonymous for being, the bad guy weapon, as we've been calling it, from the West. But I'm sure if you're on the other side, it's, the AR is the bad guy weapon, for them. But this is coming from our side of view, like our point of view. So that's how we see it. It's been more than 75 years since it first appeared, AK-47, 1947. And it shows no sign of stopping. It's, we're up to like the AK-12 and then the AK-200 series now. And yeah, it just keeps going. Yeah. So here we go. The origin of how it all started. So it all started in the Soviet Union right after World War II. A tanker named Mikhail Kalashnikov was wounded in combat in 1941 in the Battle of, now I'm going to try and pronounce this, Battle of Bryansk.
Yeah, Bryansk.
Yeah.
Or at least for us English people.
Yeah, so while he was in the hospital, he overheard a lot of his comrades complaining about the current Soviet Union rifle selections, which had a lot of reliability and jamming issues. So that really sort of burnt into his mind, saying, reliability, jamming, right? What can I do? So after being discharged from the hospital, he vowed to work on, the drawbacks of the current standard infantry weapons that the Soviet Union has. He constructed a new rifle design for the Soviet Army, with a soldier-focused approach on small arms design, usability, simplicity, and reliability. Those are big key words when we're talking about AKs. Is usability, simplicity, and reliability. Those are some big key words.
Those last two.
They have lasted this long, and it's proven time and time again that is what the AK is very well much known for. We'll get into some of the myths when it comes to some of the video game aspects of it because sometimes it's horribly inaccurate. So in 1942, he designed a prototype SMG. It was accepted into service by the Soviet Union. It wasn't accepted into service by the Soviet Army, but his talent as a designer was noticed. So he started off with that SMG design. It was noticed that he could actually do stuff. He was then assigned to D. Now this is going to be a wordful when I look this up. So he was assigned after that. He was assigned to the here we go Central Scientific Development Firing Range for Rifle Firearms of the Chief Artillery Doctorate of the Red Army.
Holy crap!
So that was his.
One take.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me do that again.
Yeah, say it one more time.
No,
I want
please
you
no.
To say it. I want you to say it fast.
Okay, here we go. Central Scientific Development Firing Range of the Rifle Firearms of the Chief Artillery Doctorate of the Red Army. I can't hold that last breath, guys. I'm sorry. So he was assigned there to work on countless prototypes, research, and improvements. Yeah, before he got into the AK-47, he worked on a bunch of little small designs here and there and improvements for Russia is just like littered with so many like prototype rifles at the time that like you could have an entire book on just what they had back then, and there is a lot of them, and a lot of video games have actually put them out there and rendered them and used them in their video games. So we're not going to go through the different prototypes that he's done, and as well as different sort of designs that he's done. We're going to go through how he got to the AK-47. So the influence for the AK was from the German Sturmgewehr. I don't know if I'm saying that properly. I know a lot of people say Sturmgewehr 44, which was a
Stay STG 44, man.
Yes, I wanted to say it properly, but sure. STG-44 was a major influence in Mikhail Kalashnikov's design. It is said that when he was captured, one of the soldiers was using that weapon when he was captured in battle. But I really did not find or see any sort of valid or sort of correct sources for that. So yeah. I'm gonna say that that's just a myth. But hey, I mean it's a great way to tell the story of Mikhail Kalashnikov. STG-44, he sees it. He's like, I want that. The Germans are not the Germans. The Soviets, they take influences from everywhere in the world to develop their own sort of project guns that they have at that time. Its form factor, mid-power cartridge, gas system design was heavily influenced by the design of his prototype. I'm gonna note down the gas power system, the gas system that they had is similar to the AK. The AK is similar to the STG-44. Almost a direct copy. But hey, I mean, doesn't matter.
It also shares a lot in common with the M1 Garand.
Oh yes, that is true.
Yes,
yeah,
I've actually seen that, and that one.
Yeah. So the RPD was produced in 1944. It provided the cartridge design for Mikhail Kalashnikov. So using the new 7.62x39 N43, he built it around the cartridge, and Mikhail Kalashnikov completed the design in 1947 and demonstrated it to the Soviet Red Army and outperformed all the competition. What I want to know is what was the other competition that he had at that time. I didn't really do a lot of research into that, but I'm sure it wasn't the tight race because, I mean, the AK is far superior than a lot of guns right now. It was quickly adopted by the Soviet Army and as well as all the Warsaw Pact members as well. It was provided. Oh, sorry. So the AK is basically the AK-47 was manufactured by Ismash. That's the company. And the initial manufacturing saw issues that slowed it down in its development, but was fixed by 1959 with the new version introduced, designated as the AKM, which is what we know as the oldest AKs today is the AKMs. They don't have an actual AK-47 now because it was replaced by it replaced the milled receiver with a stamped steel one, which is much easier to make and produce, and it's lighter. I think it's like a kilogram lighter because of that alone. The muzzle brake was also introduced to to sort of control the recoil that it has on full auto, and it improvements in accuracy of the automatic fire. So there isn't really a lot of AK-47 like original designs anymore. Some countries have them because that's how they make it still. But the stamped steel design was actually much easier to make, so a lot of the AKs around the world are more AKMs at this point. The 47 designation is basically how everybody says, and we'll go to the pop culture as well into like you see a silhouette of a gun, everyone's like AK-47. You see a silhouette of an RPG, automatic AK-47 for some reason. I don't know. Anyways, that's how it goes. So there's been lots of variants of the design after the AKM. The AKS, which is the folding stock, AKS or AKMS, which is for airborne troops, RPK, which is basically the long barreled with the bipods on it, which is the light machine gun. And there's many more AK patterns from different countries as well manufacturing it. You can get the Czechs, you get the Polish, all of those guys, the Chinese Type 56. Classic AK look, but different manufacturer, but still the same thing. AK-47 for some reason. So the smaller caliber AK-74 was, of course, made in 1974. It fires a lighter 5.45 by 39 millimeter M74, which has a greater wounding capacity than its older round, the 7.62 by 39. Because the 7.62-39 will over-penetrate the target, so it'll basically just pass through. With the 5.45 by 39, it'll basically yaw as it enters the wound, or it'll basically mushroom or hit something and then bounce around. Yeah, so that's a lot of damage.
It'll murk you.
Yeah. So quickly, the AK-74 was replaced, the AKM was quickly replaced by the AK-74. Very quickly. Like AKMs are beautiful, and 1974, that's like from 1960, that's a long time for it to still be in service at that point. And in such a wide service history, availability, and reliability, it's very popular weapon throughout the entire world. Roughly about 100 million AK variants was produced, which makes up for about 20% of the world's weapon around the world. I mean, that's like
damn.
That's a lot. Like, what is that? Like 1/5 of the world runs an AK. I mean, 100 million is a lot.
AR is America's weapon, right?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, it's
an
American luxury.
That's a step stool compared to 100 million, though.
Yeah, like the rest of the world is like,
Yeah. So, in essence, like with that kind of popularity, and we were talking about it's the arms of any rebellion, insurgency, or like counters, or not insurgency, like rebellion, insurgency. It has such a huge impact around the world that some countries adopted it in their flag design. Countries like East Timor, Zimbabwe,
really?
Burkina Faso, Mozambique.
Of course.
If you literally look at their flag, right, it will literally have an AK on it, and of course the hammer and sickle, right, because of its influence. There you go. So after, now here's the big one. After the fall of the Soviet Union, Russia became Russian Federation, what it is today. Smash pushed for a spiritual successor for the AK-74 variant. So this is right up in the 90s after they reformed. And the AK-101 and the 102 series was introduced back in 1995. It uses a 5.45 by 45 NATO round. So in essence, I think it was Boris Yeltsin at that time who was in power, and they were trying to basically jump into the NATO bandwagon and allianceship because of, like Soviet Russia has fallen. What do? Well, I guess we'll ally to.
We're not your enemy anymore.
So, I mean, that could be. I don't want to get into politics. Never mind. So AK-101, 102 series were introduced, and that's basically it's almost the same thing as a 74, with a little bit of variance here and there in the ergonomics section of it. But as far as ammunition goes, it's using the NATO rounds at this point. A few years later, 2001, the AK-103 and 104 was released. to use the original 7.62 by 39 M43 cartridge. So I guess they love that ammunition so much that they want to reintroduce it back.
It was mostly for export, as far as I'm aware. For
Yep.
countries that still had stockpiles of the old ammo.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Makes
Perfect.
sense.
Yeah, that makes a
That's
lot of sense.
Well, that's a cash decision right there.
Yeah, I mean, they needed to make money somehow after the fall of the Soviet Union. So, so after that, the AK-105 was released in 2001 as well, and it was using, it's a more updated version of the AK-74. It uses the same ammunition as the AK-74 was before, 545 by 39 M74 rounds. So the AK-100, these are designated as AK-100 series, push the modernization of the platform for the future. Variable adjusted sights, rail attachments, lighter polymer magazines, lighter polymer everything, collapsible stock, bayonet lugs, grenade, the different grenade launchers that they wanted. Yeah, you name it. It was basically like 20 years ago. They wanted to modernize the AK a little bit more than the 74, with the wood stock. So lastly, in the history portion here, the AK-12 was the last design that Mikhail Kalashnikov worked on before passing away on December 23rd, 2013. So I remember that day, and he left literally a lasting legacy that changed the entire world. And to this date, everyone still uses a lot of the old AKM designs, 74. Yeah, it just goes on from there. Revolutions have happened, countries have fallen, countries have risen because of it.
Governments have been toppled.
Yeah, and there's no other firearm design that is as prolific as this. And, we could keep talking more about the history, but, that is the basics, the basis of how, where we are today and when it comes to the AK variants, the AK designs, the history of how it started. A beautiful history.
Yeah, well,
and
there's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
Right. That's just us giving a brief overview. Thank you so much for all that work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so this will tie into what I'll lead into here, which is the pop culture aspect of the AK. So the AK is so well known that regardless of what variant that Poi has just beautifully listed there, guys, they're always named an AK-47. Okay. AK-47. 47. That's literally what
AK-47.
It's an AK-47.
It's just how the media sort of perceives any
AK-47,
any bad guy gun at that point.
Exactly. You could be holding a wallet and it's a fucking AK. But yeah, so like the AR-15 designed by Eugene Stoner, which was adopted by NATO and Western allies, the AK was adopted by the Warsaw Pact allies, which opposes the West. Both saw prominent use in the Cold War, and the AK has become a symbol for defiance, and for those who might oppose Western democracies or even their own democracy, and it has become the default bad guy gun. And then so with video game depictions of AKs is sometimes not as accurate, whether it is because it is used by untrained or not so professional soldiers in the third world countries, using the AK with long bursts of full auto and fire at enemies' general directions. Video games depict the AK as inaccurate and as uncontrollable, which is not always
spray and pray.
It's
spray and pray tactics.
Exactly. In real life, it has a lot more of a good accuracy. It can hit targets within its range.
Yeah, with might I add, with a trained soldier or person, they can use it properly. Yeah, it is very effective.
What's an effective round? Yeah, you're shooting 7.62 by 39, man. That's got more punch than 5.56. Like,
So much more.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's just so for people who don't understand that, right? Like, but pinpoint accuracy, right? Like, so it comes down to a whole nother subject on so many nuances on that point. Poi and I were so worried that everyone was going to be all like arguing about that too, because they're going to be like, an M4 is a more better rifle. It's like, yeah, but that's like
with the right hands. Yes,
it's like it's apples and oranges, bro. We're not talking about apples to oranges right now. We're talking apples to golden apples. Okay, like but yeah. So where did I leave off?
Another depiction. Yeah.
Right. So another depiction that is inaccurate is the reliability and the malfunctions. In video games, they depict it as a junk rifle. In reality, the design is pretty simple. It's reliable. It's easy to use, and a lot of loose tolerances and errors still allow it to function and work. It's one of those things where they might call it a junk rifle, but a lot of times it's a junk yard rifle because you can salvage so many different parts from different AKs and stuff like that. And I remember reading once and learning that honestly that was like the Soviets kind of doctrine on that, where it was not so much that they could fix the AR or fix the AK like an AR would and stuff. It was more along the lines of, hey, we have 100 broken AKs. Why don't we take all the parts that we need from the AKs and make a good gun, opposed to making sure that that gun is good, right? So
Yeah, I mean, its reliability speaks for itself. I mean, it's been
it's
75 years.
economics, boys.
75 years worth of AKs, and it's still around to date, and the design hasn't changed much, right?
Lots
Exactly.
of donor parts.
Yeah,
Well, exactly, right. And I mean, because that's the thing. I remember reading about like soldiers in Afghanistan and stuff like that, and they were coming across AKs that had not been like seen the light of day since like the Afghan invasion of the Soviet Union, and it's like those are like mujahideen like AKs, like those are like
still work.
and they still work.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly, they function because that's what they made to do exactly what they do. Speaking of makes and models, that leads us into exactly where we fall off and where we can start to lead you guys into, the airsoft industry. And when it comes to AKs, who's got them, what are they good for, and what do they go through? So short list that we've compiled here, Poi and I, and then we're going to get your guys' thoughts on them, okay?
All right. Let's start off with the grandfather of all airsoft companies.
Poi, yes, please.
I think you already know this. Pokemaru, TM. Great selection of AK variants. From the 74, they actually have a 74, AKM 74, the 74 series, AKS 74U, the AKS 74N, AK 102, 74MN, AKS 74, AK Storm, which is like the black and like the white rifle that they white AK that they have, and then of course with the Z system involved, we were just talking about the MWS series, the new AKM GBB.
Yeah.
That is actually a very good way to start off their series line with just the default grandfather of them all, AKM GBB. Because, right, if you want to start off the series, you start off with the original, with the classic, right? With, like no attachments whatsoever. Just Niet, AK is fine.
Well,
right?
and honestly, and if TM has any brain in the way that they're doing this right now, because of the way they built up the MWS system, and if they build off the AKM platform and you start getting like
the different variants, yeah.
Oh my God, it could be so good. It's so good. Because I had my guys, I don't know if you had a chance yet, but I had a chance to field. I didn't get to play with it, but I did get to dump a couple of mags with the TM AKM. A friend that brought it had just purchased it and everything, and it's a beautiful gun. Beautiful gun.
Just like the MWS, they did everything right. They did their research, and it's been a long R&D process for them.
Yeah.
Next up to that would be LCT.
Ooh, yep.
And they have some of the best quality and largest selection of AK variants out there. Their LCK series and their Z series, I looked at their catalog, it was huge. Like there was at least 50 of them, and then with different variations from each one of those as well. So yeah, look them up. I have a few of them. Do you guys have a few of them as well? When it comes to LCT, no.
Used to.
Nope.
Used to. Okay. So
My RPK is an LCT, so I got that.
yeah.
Well, that is my next, or it's either ENL or LCT. TAC wants me to get LCT just because he doesn't want to carry an ENL gun.
Ah, he's smart.
For us to know.
I haven't actually heard of any of these brands, so.
Okay, well, no,
welcome.
This is perfect for you.
All right. So G&G is the next one on the list there. They have a few selection of AK variants. Of course, we added G&G here because they have their RK and GK series lines. It's more of I think like making it look like the Zenko kitted out sort of AK that they have. So they wanted to just jump in there and be like, hey, here's a ready to go AK that has, balls to the wall, like all the accessories that you need to, you don't have to purchase extra. So that's what G&G has.
Yeah, well, they made them. It's like they made a Milsim one, didn't they?
It's
That's
basically
what it is?
it's
They
basically
made
tricked
that.
out like to like everything you need. Like
Yeah.
if you were to upgrade it like by yourself, although it's not.
Basic. Yeah.
If you're sort of a person who wants the real like Zenko parts, then you would want to go the route of getting the real Zenko parts. But
you
these
a
guys
real G.
these guys basically just
Yeah.
made a copy of what the rendition should look like.
Well,
If-
and that's okay, right? So
Yeah.
that's okay, because I will always give people like the benefit of the doubt and stuff like that, guys. If it looks good from
from afar, yeah.
10 feet away, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
If I come up and see that says real Zenko on there and stuff like that, I'm giving you a high five. I'm gonna give you. There you go.
But hey, I mean,
At the
there-
end of the
people's
day, it
people's
only-
personal
yeah,
decision and as well as the
exactly.
money, right?
Well,
Like-
I'm never gonna shit on other people for it, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's your own ego, and then it's about the other people that know.
Yep.
If you know, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go. I was just about to say, because if you know, you know, and if you don't know, now you know.
So another one that came up on the list here, which I also own, is a SEMA.
Yep, me too. Yep.
Honestly, they're kind of hit and miss when it comes to quality. But hey, I mean, they shoot hot right off the bat, so you just gotta adjust it a bit. But other than that, they're okay in my books when it comes to using it, because like SEMA,
Workhorse.
LCT, they all share the same magazines, which is
Yeah.
actually beautiful. If someone can correct me on that, that'll be great, because I have a SEMA and an LCT that fits my magazines, and then I tested out with someone's E&L, and they all fit as well. So yeah, if you want to correct me on
Yeah,
that,
I've got-
that'll be great.
I've got SEMA mags and LCT mags, and they fit in each other.
Ah,
the
thank you.
SEMAs are
Validated.
aren't quite as nice feeling as the LCTs, but
Yeah,
that's my
yeah. I mean,
excuse.
but
That's
hey,
your 2
hey,
cents,
SEMA
buddy.
mags. What is it, like $15 or something? Like you get them
yeah,
as
I mean,
cheap
if you
as
want,
like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't a
just get a
fan
whole
of the
bunch of
LCT mags. Back when I had my LCT, the little like hook that actually hooks into the mag wall
Yeah.
always snapped
Yeah.
on the LCT mags.
Oh,
Oh, really?
really?
But
Did you ever have any issues with the feed lips? Because I've always heard that that's one of the main issues with AKs, just because a lot of people always try and do the speed or like the tack reload and everything, right? So because- yeah, because you're always constantly like hitting that, where opposed to like like an M4 style magazine where you don't have exactly the is it a lip or is it a hook? I don't even know.
It's
An
a
eight?
hook.
for the
Nah,
It's more of a lip.
More of a
It's-
lip, yeah.
It's more of a lip, right? So
Yeah.
if you were to break that, it won't seat, right?
Yeah, and
no,
that's,
it'll fall out.
That's
Yeah,
what killed
but
my
that-
LCT.
You're basically like, if you see someone holding their AK mag like that, because they know for a fact that the lip's broken and they're down to their last mag or something.
The last
But
stand.
I think we all understand that little lip right there is our bane of our existence, because once it breaks off, you're
Yeah.
like, well, I'm down no mags at this point, and that lip just.
Really? Wow. So that really takes the whole mag completely
Yeah.
out of capacity and
Yeah.
everything like that? Wow.
I
okay,
think
that's
I think companies just need to reinforce that front lip so that it holds the magazine in, right? Because that's in real case that holds it in. That's the one that holds it in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you have any sort of weight or any kind of like sideways force on that, that's gonna snap anyway.
Hey,
There's the
L-
answer.
LCT did put a metal
there you go.
on the
Yeah.
drum because
It's
it-
so
It's heavy.
heavy.
It's
it's
heavy.
heavy. It's
How much-
2,000 BBs.
How much is that when it's
Holy.
loaded?
I honestly,
It's probably like a good couple pounds.
yeah, it's got a good weight to it. The other thing too is finding a pouch that it fits in.
Ah,
Yeah.
'Cause
Well, that's dump
when you
pouch
gotta
is the
come
way to
off
go.
field, yeah, basically, you come off the field, you got to throw it somewhere. So
Yeah, exactly. So it's either a dump pouch or some kind of GP pouch or something like
I have a
that.
gas mask pouch.
They
so-
do sell RPK pouches on Gray Shop, I believe.
I have one of those. It's incredibly tight.
Really?
It-
Even
I-
though
I-
it's like made for it, eh?
Yeah. I got it. It's in a bag over there. Anyways, it's too tight. It's too hard to get it in and out. It can be done, but you're spending probably 2 minutes trying to pull it out of just a pouch.
Mhm.
It's not worth it. So it's just get a PKM mag pouch or something bigger. That's just a
Yeah.
big box
Oh,
and just
okay.
Yeah, the
dump it in
box.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that at least you have and then some kind of
Yeah,
thing,
because the
right?
problem is it's rounded to fit the drum, so it just It's too
Oh,
tight.
so it is like fitted for the.
Yeah, it's fitted. Yeah, and it's too tight.
Okay,
So
makes
I
sense.
even tried stretching it. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, SEMA also a huge selection as well when it comes
Well,
to AK variants.
yeah.
About 31 in their catalog right now.
Mhm. And then E&L, that was the one that I was mentioning there.
Yep.
So they are heavy.
The
they
quality
are.
is at par with LCT or
I
sometimes
was just
greater.
about to say they
Yeah.
I have been impressed with some E&L builds. That being said, they also have quite a list of variants to choose from too, from their AKM, AK-74N, the 104, 74 UN, 74N. Oh my god, it goes down the list, various models with attachments, exactly. Yeah. You got a list of over 20 to choose from.
Yeah, and that's now we're moving into the
new
gas.
ones here. Yeah. So, Poi, you showed me these two new guys. Who are they? And
So before we move on to that, we still haven't gone over like GHK.
oh, sorry, because they weren't companies, right?
Yes,
Or no,
yes.
sorry, they're not manufacturers.
Yeah. So these guys are are you talking about like
Hephaestus?
Hephaestus and as well as
Hephaestus.
Arcutus? They basically take and modify already out there in the market.
Okay, so they're
airsoft guns.
aftermarket. Okay.
Yeah.
Arcturus does make their own guns. as far as I
Yeah.
know.
Oh, they do.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware. They
Okay.
make and they come with their own like knockoff SLR furniture, which looks
Okay.
very nice.
Okay,
Yeah,
so they do a good job even for
Yeah.
something that they're trying themselves. So that's good.
Yeah. So
And then,
they
get to me. Tell me the gas, Daddy. Tell me the gas.
So GHK is a big one, of course. Everybody knows GHK for one thing and one thing only. It's basically AKs at that point, gas blowback AKs. They got the largest selection of gas AKs. Like they're unmatched at this point. Hopefully, with the new AKM GBB from TM, they're still holding their spot true. With GHK there, but like the new AKM from TM is basically like blowing them out of the water because of how MWS was back then when they first released for the AR series. Now they're doing the same thing with the AKM, and it's genius for them. But I mean, as a GHK owner myself, right, the kick on it is probably the best feeling you can get out of it when it comes to gas blowback. I don't know. Like, what's your guys' opinions on GHK? Is it overrated or is it good or is it, because for me I own like 3 GHKs and yeah, they all have that same feeling. Like when you first shoot it, you fall in love with it because the recoil is so good, and you could even upgrade it to even have a bigger kick.
I mean, I love my GHK to pieces.
Literally.
Yeah. Well, but that's because, as far as I know, at least I got it used to begin with.
Yep.
It is a 2018 make. But kind of the more recent ones, especially through COVID, has kind of strained GHK a little bit, it seems.
Of course, yeah.
So the quality control isn't really there anymore.
Okay, so you have been finding just a little bit of hiccups every now and then and stuff.
A little bit.
You'll
see in some groups, people will get their AKs, and the front trunnion will be drilled in on an angle. Like your barrel is just straight up angled right from the factory. The gun's useless.
Still shoots or
no?
Like, oh damn! You said useless. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's useless.
Okay,
that's not good.
Which is a shame.
Yeah, I mean GHK is well known for having the best gas blowback AK.
Well, I mean, and hey, out of hundreds of builds, I'm sure we get some lemons out there. Hopefully their customer service isn't bad and you're able to kind of rectify that, because especially if it's a factory defect or something like that, I don't think they're gonna try.
I mean, with this new AKM from TM coming out, I hope that
feel push.
I hope there's a little bit of fire underneath their butt saying, hey, we need to tighten our quality control, because TM's around the block.
We need to do something. TM's gonna come out with some kind of like, hey, here's a Zenico handguard that you can put on your AKM, and it's like,
I mean, that's how it goes. Like that's how competition goes, and hopefully that that just lights something up their butt.
We can hope.
Yeah, we could hope.
Exactly.
Another one that has gas blowbacks that has sort of AK variants here is a Wii. I have one.
True.
I have one as well. Everybody knows that Wii is the cheapest brand of all. So they have their AK PMC, they have their 74 UN, which I have. They have their AKM PMC as well, and an AK 74 UNB. I would love to get the wood version of their AK 74. But it's been pretty hard to find for me, and yeah, there's not a lot in Canada. So I like I said, I'm like a purist when it comes to the AK. You know, someone gives me an attachment, I'd be like, "Knit gun is fine." Like get that thing away from me.
I will get you to run my AK one day.
All right. Does it have attachments? Then no.
Oh yeah.
There's one attachment you need.
What
It's
is
a
it?
bayonet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not
This-
disclaimer, not allowed at the field, like when it comes to the real one. But hey, I mean, it
Hey,
looks
well,
cool.
okay. Just to add on to that, because you added that. Okay, is there are because people are gonna be like, "Well, these kids running bayonets." Okay, there are some people that have already asked for permission to run a bayonet on their rifle as part of their LARP. Okay, they are allowed to use it as a melee weapon. Okay, mind you, guys, everything it is a training. It's not a real
A
knife.
dummy one. It's a fake
Yeah.
one. It's
Okay.
not.
Yeah. Sorry. I should have. That was misleading. wasn't it?
Some
Yeah.
poor rentals first aid. He gets stabbed.
Then he gets,
Oh, no.
he
Actually
gets
stabbed.
bonsai'd, you know. Like, ah!
Medic.
Trench's game was really hot this weekend.
All right.
No.
So
yeah.
okay, and then we get into the hepatitis airsoft.
How do you pronounce
How
it?
do you pronounce that again?
It's Hephaestus, I believe.
Hepacious.
It's the Greek
Hepacious.
god.
Ah, okay.
I thought it
And
was-
I thought you said hepatitis, but
that's what I was gonna
don't,
say.
don't want to catch that.
Let me see if I can actually find the pronunciation here real
Yeah,
quick.
but they offer a lot more of like upgrading a GHK. I think they're the only company that does the Groza AK as well, the bullpup AK-74.
Oh, man,
Oh, that one's sick.
I've seen a few of those for
And,
sale for prices that scare me.
Yeah, they're pretty expensive too. But hey, beautiful. I mean, it's they have it there, and yeah. Did we miss anything? Was there any brands that we missed here?
I
you guys
can
can think
think of two.
Fire
There
away.
was the semi more rare to find an actual VFC AK.
Really?
Oh,
VFC
VFC made
an
AKs?
case?
Here's the thing: VFC made AG AKs, and a lot of the good SEMA AKs are cloned off the VFC, not the TM,
Hmm.
because they take down a lot easier, as well as Real Sword.
Oh yes,
Oh,
I forgot
man,
about
that's
Real
one
Sword.
we
Very
forgot.
nice.
But
Yeah.
their Real Sword is also very, 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 very rare. Unless you
Controversial.
had it
And
like
you can't
15
get
years
them.
ago.
And you couldn't get them
Yeah.
because weren't they the ones that got made out of old?
Oh yeah, those are
Yeah.
demilled AK receivers.
Yeah, those
Yes.
are real AKs.
Those are real
That's
AKs.
sick. Yeah, I know.
oh
You
man,
can't get those anymore, unfortunately.
I've seen two in Canada.
Yeah, no, I knew a guy that had a real we know the same. Was it? It's an drag. Is it a red Dragonov, right? It's
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm jealous.
Yeah,
dude.
Dragon off.
very jealous. How
It,
fun.
it just sits on his wall, and he's like, yeah, that can't leave the house now.
Shit.
When it comes to imitation firearms laws, I think he's breaking all of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you guys mentioned that. I was the list that I picked from is basically readily available catalogs. When I say readily available, I mean like, we could probably still get a used market. But as far as like Real Sword goes, ain't no way you're getting that new. Ain't no way you're gonna find someone
I'm
who's willing
still
to give it
hunting.
up.
I'm
You
still
still-
hunting.
Honestly,
Let me know if you find it. I'll
Yeah.
bid you.
Oh,
Wait,
good,
I
I'll
shouldn't have
bet.
said that.
No, go in together. Go in together, so you can sell it to a collector for a higher.
Yeah,
price.
I'm the collector.
Okay, boy, you and I will go in on this, and then we'll sell it to him.
So out of all of this in the list, what do you trust? What do you guys trust the most when it comes to like trusted brands here? What is your most trusted brand here?
Yeah, if you guys
Um,
had to choose
yeah,
three,
If someone wants to jump in, go
or
ahead.
choose two. Choose your two that you would go first, and then your backup. And if you could choose again, like from
If you were new,
yeah,
what would you go for?
yeah.
If I was new to Airsoft,
Or if you're just recommending, okay,
with
so
the
so, you
knowledge
know,
that you have now,
yeah,
back then.
theoretical. So
Yeah.
young Morris comes up to you and goes, "Hey man, I really like AKs and I kind of want to get an AK."
Slap! Don't get one.
No, run away.
Get two.
It would have to be an LCT
Okay.
Okay.
All
any
right.
day of the week.
Okay.
Any particular reason why?
Just you get the same external build quality as you would with the GHK because LCT makes the receivers and everything for GHK.
Oh.
You don't have to deal with the problems inherent, especially for a new player to run in a gas rifle. It's not great for new players.
No.
And just the build quality is leagues above SEMA.
Mm.
And I don't like what GNG makes. It's ugly.
And you know, as a purist myself, I agree with you on that one. You know, I mean, they are going in there and making sure that something available for the new folks as well.
Yeah, well,
Or for the price
and,
range, right?
Well,
I mean,
and I feel like they're just playing to the market. They
Yeah.
don't really care. They're just kind of making stuff.
That does sound like GNG.
Yep.
Yeah, which is fine.
That's why they're
'cause
rental
again,
guns.
they're consumer
Hey.
market, right?
All
You
hail
know.
the CM16.
Hey,
Mhm.
yeah, CM16 Master Race, man.
Yeah.
Jesse, so I know
Yeah.
some of these brands might be relatively new to you, right? And then
Oh,
you
very
might
new.
not have the tech expertise to be able to. I hope you've had experience with some of these brands. Hope you get some more. But I'm gonna just move over to Scott because Scott, I know you have your LCT.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you, Scott, had two choices from that list, right? Would you choose differently? Would you choose the same? And then what would be your backup? Like, what are your thoughts on it?
I definitely like the LCT. I would definitely pick that again. I have no regrets getting it. I do also have a SEMA. It's definitely more of a budget gun. I would say if you wanted something, especially this one, it's not one of the newer ones. So I don't really have a good kind of view on the newer ones. But if you wanted an AK really bad and you wanted, just starting out, you didn't want to spend LCT prices, probably SEMA would be fine for that. So LCT and SEMA, I would say.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Good to know.
Oh, yeah,
SEMA does. The SEMA does come
really-
apart easier. I will say.
Okay,
that.
so it's got a
Oh.
bit easier breakdown.
But again, it's an older one. It's one of the plastic receiver ones. So
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I got it for free.
Oh well,
Ooh.
that's
You're
the
winning.
best. That's the best kind of
You
gun.
are winning, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So this will basically take us into the tech portion of this. And unfortunately, guys, I know, I'm sorry, you might be better tech versed than me. I know how to work on my M4. I have never worked on an AK, and Tack is the field tech. So he's usually the guy that would be running this portion, but he has given us a nice kind of breakdown on what the AKs are used in and stuff. So for starters, it uses a similar but different gearbox from an M4 variants from before. They use a V2 gearbox. AK type platforms use a V3 gearbox, right? So if anyone's ever wondering, what the difference is in those right there, right off the version 2, version 3. I will try and get a graphic in there for later. I mean, boy, it's okay. We weren't really kind of expecting that. And Tack really kind of let us down with the graphic.
This is all magic dust to
Yeah,
me. I have no idea what these mean.
I know he was supposed to send us a graphic. He's like, whatever, it's fine. He's sick. He's resting. But yeah, so most parts are interchangeable from a V2 to a V3. For example, compression parts, motors, gears. Some versions of the V3 gearbox can use a V2 nozzle, but for basic purposes, you should just get a V3 nozzle.
Makes sense.
The trigger system is different from a V2 and uses a 2-piece trigger or a slide bar on some cheaper models. V3s are very tech friendly and they have to be put together all in one before being put into a system to allows you to tune it easier. Between a V2 and a V3, the V3 is more friendly to optical MOSFETs because it's easier to enclose it from the outside sources of light versus a V2 gearbox. A V3 can still be configured as a front wire or rear wire based on the platform's needs. V3 also have a few more loose parts on the gearbox versus a V2, and the V3 gearboxes did make some improvements when it came to the gearbox reinforcements, although the old V3 still run into the same problems as the old V2s did in the front portion, cracking from all the stress. And I'm sure we've all, if not, I know some of you guys are the newer ones, have cracked the gearbox. It's not fun.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
I think the motor's also different. If I remember correctly.
so motors are
Yeah,
interchangeable for the most part, I believe, right?
I don't think so, because I think this would be an M4 motor. So
Mhm.
you got the extra bit up here. I believe.
Oh, to reach
V3s
the
are
pinion
shorter.
gear. Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they're shorter. It's been a bit, but I'm
Mac,
pretty sure
Tack
they're
didn't put it
shorter
on the
motors.
notes. He didn't
Oh
put
my
it on the
god!
notes.
I'm scanning.
unprepared.
I'm scanning. Oh my god! The guests are
Sorry,
talking.
guys.
Like, what do I do?
Because I think there's a short and a long motor.
Yes,
if I remember correctly.
I know.
I
It's,
do
Shorts
know
are for
that.
AKs,
I do
longs
know
are for,
that.
yeah.
But does
Yeah.
the AK pistol grip not have a motor height adjustment screw?
No,
No.
Oh, it
I don't
doesn't?
think so.
the AK motor sits in a cage in the grip.
Oh, right,
it's
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it
now,
doesn't.
is this true? I know I've been looking at it with my GBB and like my LCT. Are the grips a little bit bigger on AEGs versus the gas one?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I noticed, because every time I hold on to my LCT one, I'm like, why is this fatter? And then I go to my GHK and I'm like, yeah, this feels nice.
It's so
Especially,
skinny.
especially if you get that nice grip angle of like a K2.
Yeah.
I imagine also there is probably some that are a little closer. Obviously, the smaller AK grips, if they have to have a motor inside, are probably blown up a bit bigger than a more modern one where it's
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you have to fit a motor, so
Yeah, well, just strap it to the side of the gun. It'll work fine. Don't worry.
Okay.
AK's fine.
But yeah, so just the last little bit of notes here from our tech. We'll back more with that later. Yeah, so from a hop-up perspective, AKs are wonderful, as the hop-up has to be screwed down, essentially locking the system down to help with consistency. Depending on the brand, taking an AK apart can be extremely easy, all the way to painstaking.
Tack, what do you want? Are you a level 1 or a 10 pain?
Tack, you're just complaining here. Tack, this is your job. What's
those-
going on, Ty?
Those TMAKs.
Yeah, anytime, and especially if it's EBB.
Yeah, the TM spec AKs are like 90% screws.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But usually they're easy. I feel like the teching portion here fits the similar sort of pattern as when they created the AK, which is reliability and reliability, simplicity, and the design is easy. So I think they did the same thing for the Airsoft world here.
Exactly. And then speaking into it, because I mean, a lot of that really translate from the real steel world, because I feel like that's the best comparison for it. There's a lot of real steel shooters that dabble with Airsoft, right? And they are considered Airsofters. But there's not a lot of Airsofters that dabble with real steel. So Morris, I understand that, there was a little bit of feathers ruffled with some, safety aspect. And I want you to know, just straight off the bat and everything, I actually agreed with you wholeheartedly, right? But in the eyes of everyone else and everything like that, tone doesn't always get pulled through. And then, all it takes is one person to kind of
Especially in text.
Oh God, especially in text, man.
I just need to come to the field in person so I can express my opinions.
Hey, dude, it's all good, man. No worries, honestly.
I mean, I think it'd be sick to give a tutorial on just basic firearm safety, because I know just that's one thing that
the
kind
amount
of
of times that
times.
we have tried that, Jesse.
Oh man, really?
The fact that it's because it always leads back to it's a toy gun.
Yeah.
And it's
Fair.
cringe.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like yes and no.
You just, it's like if you accidentally shoot someone, or flag
exactly.
someone, you still have
yeah, because I'm gonna hand someone
ability
like
to
an
injure.
airsoft gun before I hand them a real gun, and
Yep.
I'm gonna be like, how do you act? Oh,
Load
did you
this.
just Yeah, exactly. Did you just point that at me? Well, hey man, we're never going to the range together now. Like, you know.
And that
Yeah.
just sucks.
But we were
Range-
playing the game. We were playing the game.
Like I was like while that whole conversation was going on last night, I was also talking to my buddy who's like actually in the U.S. military, he's deployed over in Poland.
Mhm.
But he was like, yeah, I really hate it when I go to the range, or like even with guys in his company, platoon, whatever. He's like, I hate it when guys are flagging other guys because he knows they're trained not to, and it's just so he's like, I really appreciate like the move to safety
Mhm.
and whatnot, and just guys being safe, even if it is just a toy. Because like, hey, even in the military, we do even use paintball to train and whatnot. So it's like, yeah, I think like it should always
Well,
be
yeah,
taught.
exactly. There's an air of a caution there, and then the fact that there are people aware of it, I think that's the main point on it. So that's the only, that's the only tidbit that I wanted to touch on that.
Yeah.
Getting back to the topic at
Yeah.
hand, and then this is where I want to bring you guys into it. And our last kind of topic for the AK platform is the ergonomics. So I have never run my AK as like a primary dedicated platform that I use all the time. I've only ever kind of like run into like a city game and, you know, screwed around a little bit or stood around LARPing for some photos and stuff. How do you guys feel about your AK when it comes to ergonomics and stuff? And, you know, what do you have on it? Do you have any attachments to make it easier? You know, optics, grips, stuff like that. So I'll go through one by one.
Just start off with me.
Start off with Poi. I
Quick
will
and easy.
start
No.
off with Poi.
AK is fine.
Okay.
Done. I leave it vanilla. Like I
Yeah.
leave most of my airsoft guns
Yeah.
vanilla as heck. So yeah, I tend to run it vanilla. I tend to run it stock. I tend to run everything because if I were to upgrade a whole lot of guns in my
Sling
container,
mount.
Yeah.
Sling.
sling. Actually, yes, that is a big one for the AK because I have
one time you wear a sling.
Yeah, because of the fact that
I'm gonna quote you on that. Okay, I'm gonna
it's,
clip back the old episode.
you got me
I
there.
don't need
But
it.
I like running the sling because the classic like SKS sling that I have,
100%, yeah, it's a nice one.
it's
Yeah,
it's
that's
beautiful. It fits well. It
Yeah.
fits nicely, and
Super
they're
good.
comfortable.
2-point. That's all
Yeah,
you need.
that's all you
Yeah.
need.
Sling it when you don't need it, right? Yeah, that's
A
exactly. And
beauty
you're
like
not-
a beauty like that left in vanilla form, like you don't want to put that on the ground.
how can you not?
You
Yeah,
have to hug it. It
appreciate
has to be on you.
It has to.
No accessories. Anyways, next.
Okay, Scott, I saw you reaching for your prop, and you are the first one on my Zoom list there. So, what have you done to your your RPK, right?
RPK, yeah.
Yeah.
So
what have
Still
you
an
got on
AK.
it?
Yep.
first
It's still
bipod.
an AK. Yeah. Hey, you need that. Yep.
Yeah. This thing, I think, if I remember correctly, is 8 pounds. So
The bipod.
no, the gun
Oh, wow.
itself.
Okay.
So it gets heavy. I have a 3D printed. Yeah, that would be a heavy bipod. That'd be a lot. I have a 3D printed
RK.
grip,
Oh,
basically.
sweet, awesome.
It's pretty strong. I'm surprised it's lasted as long as it
Did
has.
you-
on
did
the-
you make that
what is
3D
it?
print?
What is it printed?
Yeah. Well, I didn't make it. I found it on Thingiverse. It's made out of PETG.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
And I
okay,
mean,
so
it's hollow
PGG.
too.
Okay.
Like it's not solid plastic, but it's survived quite a bit, and you can pick up the whole gun by it. It doesn't care.
Yeah.
Nice.
So-
Oh, sick.
I have a replica EOTech with a sight protector on it.
Mhm.
Because I really don't want sights shot out.
Yeah, you don't want to have to
Um,
buy that repro again.
No, definitely not. I have a sling back here because it does have a quick detach sling in the stock. I don't use that though because I have a sling that attaches to my chest rig on the shoulders,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
it uses a hook instead of a quick detach. So
Oh,
I'll
a
switch to
single
that.
point.
Yeah. I
Okay,
use a
perfect.
1-point sling. And then it's just everything else is stock. Other than that, I also have. I'll put that down for a second. I have the SEMA AK while I'm here real quick.
Perfect. Yeah, show
Um,
it off.
And it has been converted. I If I can get the, well, I'm gonna leave the
Are
belt,
you
I
kidding
guess.
me? Why didn't you bring that up earlier? Oh,
I was going to, but
you're the guy who built that. Now I remember. Yes.
Oh,
Beauty.
That
So
That's-
it is an AEG still.
yeah,
That's
but
fine.
you built that. That's so cool.
You put a
Um,
drum mag
that
on
is-
that, by the way?
Oh, sadly you can't. It doesn't
won't
You
fit.
can't rock it
No.
anymore,
doesn't-
right?
It doesn't
Yeah, I thought
fit
so.
in the mag.
I was gonna
well.
be like, how
Oh,
can you
man.
even get your hand on it?
You
Like,
wouldn't,
that-
but the
Yeah,
other thing
that's
too you have to remember is if you ever bullpup something, the mags are so close. Like this little nub
Yeah.
right on there stops you from rocking it in.
no. So can you
Do
like?
you have to go from that much of an angle?
Yeah.
No, but it will rock in, but it gets locked. When you try and rock it out, it won't come out. It'll lock itself in. You can like you have to really play with it. It will come out, but
So is that
a
a
standard like LCT will.
So is that a
Right, you'll have no
Groza
problem.
like style, or is there a
Um,
different designation for it? I'm not too familiar with this type of bullpup
Yeah,
design.
like-
It's kind of a Groza, but it's kind of not at the same time because basically a lot of it is it's two conversion kits that I found that were modified to
okay.
work with
Yep. Yep.
because the front end was really nice because it's like a Groza, but it's the original one was designed for HPA, which
Yeah, I
didn't
have a
wanna do
friend.
HPA.
I have a friend who built that.
Yeah.
I think you two have conversed with each other about.
I think
your
so,
builds.
yeah.
David?
Yeah,
Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Our,
Dave,
our-
yeah.
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 Our Dave. Yeah.
But obviously I wanted to keep it AEG. So there was a guy that made an AEG conversion, but all he did for the front was he basically just made a vertical foregrip and stuck a trigger on it. And I really didn't like that. He had exposed wiring running down the side here and into the receiver.
Oh,
So it's all inside, it's all nice, uses a micro switch. And because I had this from the original SEMA, I had this angle or positionable grip, I guess.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
I made a basically just a barrel bit of Picatinny, and now you have something to hold on to at the front.
you made an AUG.
So yeah, basically we call it the Ak because it's like an AK mixed with an AUG.
Yeah.
It's
AKU
AUK.
AU. I don't know.
AUK. Yeah,
AUK.
Letters.
it's called the Ak.
Frankenstein.
It's really short, which is nice. It's really light as well. This suppressor though lengthens it obviously, which isn't great.
Yeah.
But it also holds the inner barrel centered because I had to cut the end of the barrel off,
Oh.
the outer barrel,
Ah.
because
no.
So
for,
what?
for the Kalashnikov edition or whatever that
Yeah.
my friend had that he gave to me,
Heck yeah.
the barrel, the front iron sight, which I wanted gone, was pinned and then like tack welded in place.
Oh, so
Oh,
you
wow.
couldn't. You couldn't strip it off.
I
I
without
tried
taking the whole-
drilling it. It
Yeah.
got bad, so I just pulled the barrel off and I took a cutting disc to it, and that was that. So
That was the end of that story.
Nice.
yeah, basically.
How does it feel to like shoulder it, hold it, and
It's
aim down
pretty
sight?
light. You can do a lot. Like I like to reach over the side when I want to go for selector, and then changing magazines isn't very hard.
Wow.
Yeah, I've actually heard that one with like with the reload style of the AUG or bullpup style reloads and stuff like that. It's not as bad as people kind of would presume. Just rear.
So it's different
rear-
manual arms of
Yeah.
you
Exactly,
gotta
yeah.
practice with it.
You gotta
Yeah.
train.
Yeah.
You gotta train, right?
Okay.
That's like
So-
with anything, you got to train.
100%, 100%. Training comes to everything. So
Yeah.
awesome, beautiful gun. Thank you for showcasing that.
Actually, I
Please.
want to ask you one question there, Scott. Have you
Okay.
seen the SRU conversion for the AK? Have you seen that before? SRU?
That's the one with,
Bullpup.
that's 3D printed, I think, as well. But
Yes,
it's like a
yes.
mass produced one. I
They were the
have
first
seen
ones
that.
to come out with it, I think 8 years
Yeah,
ago.
they also have one for the Scar, right?
Yep. That's
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have
I've seen
I
that.
actually have that. So if you see my
I-
videos online, then that would be me.
I'm not a big fan of that one. If I remember correctly, what it looks like, I think it's too boxy.
It's just
yeah.
the back is so big and then it tapers
Yeah,
down.
I mean, it's the problem too is with this is you have to hide your motor somehow.
Yeah.
So it's fairly big, but
Yeah,
it is
where
also
is
all
it
your
going?
weights. Yeah, all your weights in the rear, so it's pretty comfy to run around with.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's not too bad, especially if the pistol grip is that far forward. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty much
yeah.
centered in kind of.
but
like
it
your
looks
elbow.
beautiful, honestly.
Yeah.
With
It does.
profile
it
of
does.
it. Yeah.
Thank you for showcasing that off. And perfect. That leads into the next guy there, Jesse. You're back just in time. You're my
Yeah.
next guy on the Zoom one there.
Realized
Um,
all the mags I had were loaded. So
Okay. Okay. So, what have you done to your AK, if you have done anything? And how does it it compare to your AR platform if you do own one? Or I know you're also a real steel shooter, so you
Yeah.
know the AK variant that we can't have, you know,
Oh my
right?
goodness.
So how do you feel about the ergonomics of it?
I actually like. So yeah, it doesn't like. I do have an AR 180 platform, which is pretty much an AR platform. It's just not an AR 15
Yep.
in real steel. But actually, I love reloading on that a lot more than reloading this AK, because it's freaking, you're putting it, having to hook it in and whatnot. But like, it's super easy to take out, but putting it in, it can be, you gotta find it. Like, of course that comes with training, but whereas my AR, I just drop it, slide it in, done, clicks. But otherwise, like, I like let me just unfold this here. It's right up here. I like I mean, I do have a grip in my AR. I like sitting here and then just putting my
Rocket.
rest
There
my
you go.
hand up in here with the AK.
So you
Like
like holding it like Magwell style.
The Magwell
Yeah.
style, yeah.
Because I don't have a grip yet, because I do want to upgrade this to have a rail system so I can put a little more on it, work with stuff. But yeah, otherwise I just feel this feels more natural than freaking way out here with my AR. Just bringing it in close. Well, I haven't actually done anything to it. I bought it from my brother's buddy like this with this really cheap red dot, which I left on and it's now dead. But
GG.
yeah, otherwise, yeah.
It
I love
happens.
it. Like, it's got the option that I can put suppressor on, whatnot.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. I've loved playing with it every time. It's
What brand is
failed.
that? Was the
It's Rifle Dynamics.
Rifle Dynamics? Okay.
Yeah, out of Las Vegas. So
Any problems shipping it up here?
I don't know. My brother's buddy got it in a mystery box, I think, from Toronto Airsoft
Oh wow.
Oh,
a
wow.
while back.
Okay.
Because yeah, my brother.
That's a
and him
wild
used to play a
card.
lot.
All right.
Yeah, I was
Right,
gonna
right.
say. I was gonna
Rifle
say.
Dynamics is, as far as I know, a real AK manufacturer.
Yeah, that's when when he told me yesterday. I looked it up. I'm like, wait, hold on. We're not talking about real AKs.
Yeah,
here. He's
no,
like,
I'm
"Oh,
not
no,
asking you
it's an
what's your
airsoft gun.
real-
Yeah, like when my brother was like, hey, if you wanna, I told my brother I really want to get it into airsoft now, because I've got some extra money to play with from like other hobbies I've kind of slowed down on. And he was like, hey, my buddy will sell you his AK. I'm like, sold, let's do it. Because it's like, yeah, I love the AK, I love the aesthetic of it. And yeah, but otherwise, yeah, I run single mount sling, and then usually, like, if I'm going off field, just fold the stock and it just sits right close to me. Yeah, otherwise, yeah, love it. It's a lot of fun. It's easy to run with. Just yeah, the reloading and whatnot
is a challenge, but
Yeah.
it's okay. You know, like, and I know all that does is take training and everything
Yeah.
like that. So I look forward to checking back with you at a later date, and we'll see if you've thrown anything else on there, and if
Yeah.
the reload is still giving you a little.
Get
break.
those
Yeah,
reps
that's been my
in.
slowest
Yeah,
part.
yeah. I better see. I'm gonna check with you at the field. Okay, I'm gonna be like,
Yeah,
how
like,
are those
2
reloads?
weeks ago, I had a really good reload where it's just like
Snap, just flowed,
out,
right?
dump
Yeah.
bag, next one in, and it was just like, then I went and cleared the right side of the city. And I was like, oh man, that was my
crisp.
Okay, I
moment right
can't
there.
wait for him to go back to an actual AR and you see him bang, 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 reload, and then underhands, and I'm like, wait, no,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, traitor.
Okay, well, so that leads us to our third guest there, Morris. Awesome, thanks for being on here.
Yep.
So I know you have been an AK connoisseur. So before you had your build, I know the one that you're working on right now isn't quite finished and stuff. But if
Yeah.
you'd like to talk about it, awesome.
That's what
If
I've
you'd
got
still
together.
like to talk about any of your other experience, because I know you've had your AKs experience more than myself anyway.
I had, when I first got to AKs, it was first with an LCT 74.
Yep.
Bone stock, all wood, fully stock, like Boy likes. Used that for a bit, and then I got, local guy was selling a GHK for about $400. 74M, modern furniture, was just missing an auto sear. So I ran that pretty much stock for a while, and it slowly evolved. And now I have this Frankenstein of a gun where I think there's about 4 pieces left that are stock.
It's usually how it goes. Yeah.
Rear sight block has been changed. Got a vortex optic on there. Changed the grip. I've changed the receiver, which, like, actually as well with Jesse, this is a replica of a Rifle Dynamics MB47 CNC aluminum receiver.
Oh, sick.
So I've done basically everything I can to make this thing more modern. Got a railed gas tube, extended magazine release. On the old receiver, I had the AR style stock, which is just way better in my opinion.
Then the wood one?
Yeah.
Mm.
I create.
Boy, Matt.
I will say there is one thing I will never do, and that is I will never get a railed dust cover.
Oh man.
I do not like them. I don't like having an optic that far back on an AK.
Ah.
Okay.
Like I have mine.
So you like yours all the way to the front then, like on the rail.
Yeah, I've replaced where the iron sights would be actually with
Vortex, sick.
With a modular base.
Okay.
So I could actually swap this off and I could put like an LPVO on there.
Okay.
Oh, that's legit.
Sans that, it's just
So is it just a preference that you don't like it up close on top of the dust cover, or do you just like it at the front end?
So the way I run my AKs, I C-clamp them like you would an AR.
Yeah.
So when I'm holding it out, I have it kind of loosely tucked into my shoulder.
Right.
And it makes it a little bit easier, especially with the way AK sheet weld is. It's just a little bit easier to line up when it's a bit further forward versus far back. It's a little bit more time to line it up, in my opinion.
I actually can see where you're coming from with that standpoint, because TAC, as a meme, ran my EOTech at the front of my 416. I don't know why, but he told me because it was better.
Well, I mean, there's no reason you can't, because you have both eyes open anyway. You got massive field of view.
Yeah.
No. The only thing I'm waiting on now is I'm getting one of the Sage Armament handguards, but that is taking its sweet ass time in the US.
Okay. Well, hopefully that comes soon for you.
So how much is this project gun costing you now?
Oh yeah, what do you?
Or do you even not count anymore?
Tell us.
I think I stopped counting after about $2,000.
Ah, yes, that is the classic. That is the classic excuse.
That is.
This receiver alone, I got from a guy in Hong Kong, was about $700.
Oh, so this is a really dedicated project gun that you're doing then.
Yeah,
very passionate project.
Yeah.
When this is done, though, I am confident saying this will be one of one in the world.
Okay.
No other AK will
You
be
know
like
what?
this.
If that's how it is, then that's basically like the unique bonus right there of a statistic on the gun itself. I mean that
It's
looks
a pistol.
Yeah. That looks beautiful, by the way. That looks really good.
I need a stock.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
I don't have a gas block yet.
Oh, you don't?
This, like I said, this used to be a 74, but I bought a 105 barrel. So
Yeah.
I need the new gas block.
No.
Okay, all right. That's
Well, honestly, I can't wait to check back in with you and see where this build goes when you finally get it done.
Yeah, see me in 6 months.
Oh.
No.
I was gonna be like, is that like the best timeline, or is that the worst?
That's the Morris doesn't get anything seized at the U.S. border timeline.
Oh no. Okay. All right. So
yeah, Poi, that pretty much leads off on all the conversation topics I have. Is there anything that you guys would like to mention to the community, or is there anything about the AK platform that you feel like we might have forgotten that you would like to get out now? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Battery space.
what's up?
Battery space, yeah.
Battery. Oh, yes.
I think they all said it at the same time.
So here's the beauty about keeping it the classic aesthetic look with the wood furniture at the back. I could fit a big ass. I could fit that big ass battery in there, no problem. How about you guys?
Mine is right in the dust cover.
I don't know, man.
Slots in right here.
I don't know what a battery is.
Hey, I
Never heard of them.
I run both
Scott,
gas
does
and
yours have to be
AEG side.
front-wired
I know.
No, it goes under the dust cover. There's a locking pin right here.
Oh my
I don't know
god.
if you
Oh
can see
my
that.
god. Yeah.
So what you do is you turn it and then you pull it out. LCT, the guy at Trigger, he took the dust cover off to test fire it. He could not get the dust cover back on. He went and he was like, "I'll go get a rubber mallet." And it's like, "No, it's fine. We'll just put it on at home. It's fine." There's a pin that goes through the front. There's a hole in the front, and it goes through and it pins it. So you have to put your battery in. You have to make sure all your wires are nice and tucked. And then you come in and you slide this along.
Nice and easy. Yeah.
And you have to make sure this goes in. And I've taken the pin and I've put it in some sandpaper and just spun it.
Mhm.
It's so much easier now. When I first got this, I had games where they finished the rules, they finished all the game mode. We're walking out onto the field, and I'm still trying to get the battery in. It's like it's just like, oh man, this, and then it would snap in, and it would pinch my finger, and
then you're just like,
Oh, man.
yeah. So a bit of sanding goes a long way for that pin.
Okay. So
Like,
definitely
mine's super easy. Like it goes right.
Yeah.
in the
Just
rear
slide it
dust
right
cover.
in the wall,
Yeah,
and
you've got
oh,
that
That's what I have for
style.
my
Yeah,
70.
no.
That's what I have for my black
the-
74. Yeah,
I
it's
think the
same
newer
thing.
ones they changed it because the thing is the SEMA, you just pop the back, comes off,
My SEMA does the
slot
same
this
thing.
in, make sure you got it on the right side, and it just locks in basically. It's really easy, but the newer, I don't know if it's on the newer style or which ones should have that style, but the pin, it's hard, especially when it's right from the factory.
I think this is why they call it the AK style battery, because it's just the long, like skinny one that goes into the
Yeah,
tube.
that's what
That's
mine
the
is.
other thing
Yeah.
too. No lithium ion, from what I understand.
Oh,
What?
I don't-
it can't run it.
It
Can't-
doesn't fit it. You can't basically, because the cell's square for the
Yeah.
lipos, because they're
Yeah.
flat packs
Yeah.
for the cells, you can fit this in because the dust cover comes on, it sits nice and flat on it. But with the round ones, because they've got the top and bottom that's just a little bit bigger, you can't actually run a lithium ion in an LCT AK unless it's got a solid stock, which you could theoretically also run it in the buffer tube. But if you have a side folder like this one, it's just
You're
there's
gonna
a
break the
pinch
wires.
risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just not worth it.
I snipped a battery wire on my old LCT trying to cram the dust cover on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
because you couldn't see it on the side when you're cramming it in.
Yeah, I was trying to push in, and
Yeah,
it caught between the gearbox and the dust cover, and just slip.
Yeah, that's my big worry when it comes to snapping on the dust cover for my LCT too. Is just it gets annoying when the wires sneak out, or like the little like balancer.
The balance lead.
The lead comes out and be like, "Hey, I'm over here," and I'm like, "Oh, what the fuck? Get back
It
in
is
there!"
nice being able to just side fold your stock though for like city.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Just side fold it. Now you've got RPK
I
that really.
I
should
love
be
that
shit.
too. When you're going in there, you're like, "Okay, I need to compress." All right, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Folding stocks is the one thing I miss the most when I use an AR.
Folding stock, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, damn, I wish I could fold this.
I mean, there's
There's a fair bit.
there's
of
the
stuff available.
SIG. You could fold that. There's a
I have been actually designing in CAD. This is completely unrelated to AKs. I apologize, but one of the like a SIG style bolt for my rifle.
Yeah.
Just so I can make that in my machine shop and get a folding stock.
Oh, so you have a background in like not mechanical, but fabrication or
Yeah, that's
milling or
that's my job. We run a CNC shop, so
oh, okay.
cool.
So
That's
I'm
what my
a-
other brother does.
I'm allowed to
mill-
diddle the
millwright?
machines.
Are you a millwright? Is that the trade? I don't know.
I'm not
that's it.
sure the exact term.
It's
That
a
might be a
CNC
technician.
machinist. My brother is
Oh, a
currently
machinist.
in school
Okay,
for it.
that is a trade.
Yeah.
Machinist.
Hmm.
There we go.
okay, so that's why you know how to like make your own things and put them together in an AK. I see your background there.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that makes more sense now. That's why you're spending more on the project gun, because you know what you're doing.
Well, let's not go that far.
Oh, okay, all right.
I never claim to know what I'm doing.
I mean, it's airsoft. It's a hobby. You said at the very beginning you just like learning the new things, right? So
This AK has seen hammers, Dremels, a welder. I had to
oh,
TIG weld part of it.
poor AK. I feel bad for it now.
Well, so I can show us off real quick. I was telling you guys about the optic mount I have.
Yeah.
This is meant for real AKs.
Yeah.
And the GHK rear sight block is taller than the real AK. So I had to buy this, cut it in half, and then re-weld it slightly taller so that there would actually be clearance for the bolt.
Okay, so you know what you're doing at that point then.
Yeah.
All right, got it.
At that point, I know a little bit.
Okay, all right. I think this basically closes off the segment here. I don't have any other questions, honestly.
No,
Other than like we were talking about reloads and stuff, but as for gas users,
Ooh, yeah.
you know,
What's your favorite reload
what's your
style?
favorite reload style? Like if you're reloading, do you still like take that secondary mag and flip it out, like
Kind of.
with it, or do you just go in thumb and then rack in?
No,
Thumb is the play.
You need to do the Soviet classic reload. Take your hand off the firing pistol grip, okay? Turn around, reload, and then take your other hand and reach the bolt and rack it, okay?
So, like I said, I have the extended mag release, so I actually can just hit that with my finger.
Ah, yeah, that's
legit.
Oh, that was so
that's
hot
like
right
that's like
there.
comparable
That was
to
actually really cool.
the AR bad lever. That's
Yeah,
like what it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Bad lever, yeah. for
And I
the
don't have to,
bolt catch.
because with the AK where you'd hit it with the other one, I found that paddle was a little bit hard to hit, especially after stress.
Yeah.
This I can hit it anywhere. So
Okay.
it's
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
a bit
for,
more consistent.
for me, it's the with the mag on the hand, the thumb, and
Yeah.
rack in. That's a little bit easier for me.
Especially with the sometimes when you're tack reloading too, right? Like even for me, like with my M4, like I'm hitting that release, but like with my mag in hand, to so easily slide and transition that mag out and then re-index it, right? So
It's all about speed.
He
yeah.
needs to reload.
But I'm just straight
Okay, fair enough.
All right, you made your point.
Okay.
Yeah, but
RPK has
hold
entered the
on,
chat.
rattle it.
It's about half full right now.
Oh, it's a maracas,
there we
dude.
go.
Tactical maracas.
It is electric winding though.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
a
handy.
beauty.
That's
Yeah.
handy.
Sick.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So you
that'll
just
save
basically push on this lever and it just winds up a bunch.
Oh,
Yeah, there
okay,
you go.
okay.
You could literally hold it down.
I think it will wind faster than the gun can actually fire it.
Oh,
in
that's
full auto.
well, that's not bad. So
pretty
then you
good,
can just
yeah.
burst it. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's funny because people are like, "Oh, I'll take your position when you have to reload." It's like, no reload.
no. Did not hear last
No.
last.
I'll let you know in a few rounds.
hey, buddy! Like halfway through the day, I need you to cover me.
The barrel's melted. Here.
I've gone through 4 batteries and I still haven't reloaded.
Yeah, the only other thing I could see was anyone have any problem with like mags not fitting in chest rigs well?
But that's got to be an issue for you guys, no matter what, because just being
Yeah.
over here where everything's westernized.
Just buy some
towards-
Russian surplus. That's what I did.
Yeah, right.
Here's
What are
a-
you? Yeah, actually, yeah. Your uniform recently did change up, right? You're rocking now.
I went
like
from a Condor $80 chest rig, which was fine. It was tight, but if you wanted to double stack the AK
you
mags,
couldn't. Yeah, you couldn't do that.
it
I
was-
remember we
it
talked
was
about
really tight. Yeah. But the I got a what is this? SH117 or 6SH117.
Yeah.
So it's just a load bearing vest.
that.
But
Yeah, it's
it
like a
came with-
battle harness too, right?
Yeah,
Like-
yeah. But it's got tons of attachments, and the AK mags fit in those pouches great. They're dual pouches, and yeah, no problem fitting them in there. But
Yeah.
standard
Yeah.
M4 pouches can be tight.
They
Yeah.
standard M4 pouches are very tight. What I tend to do is I have like a bunch of double stack ones and they fit nicely in there instead of the
Oh,
single
okay.
stack ones because it's just AK mags, big boy mags.
What I've
Yeah.
found helps is you want to kind of go against what you think's going to work and load your mags into pouches, BBs up,
Yeah,
because
Yeah,
then you don't get the issues of the locking lugs.
Yeah.
And-
So that's the
yeah.
big one.
Oh
and
yeah.
your feet- yeah. Okay, so you
But-
actually have to have your mags in the other way.
Yeah.
I run mine upside down just because I'm grabbing like this and then flipping
And beer canning it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did have them both ways. I tried in the Condor rig. It was probably more just because it was a Condor rig, $80 rig.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
but
yeah.
it was tight
and that
either way.
style of magazine, right? Like,
Yeah,
don't get me
yeah.
wrong, because a lot of things just aren't made
no.
for that for such a curve. Because even like a Stanag 45 is curved, but
But
it's
not
not.
that much.
But it's not that curved, right?
If
Yeah.
you, because I have these are like 7.62 mags technically, even though I'm using them in like
An
what would be a
AKM?
5.45.
Oh,
But I like the feel of these better. Also the LCT ones that are designed for a 15 or whatever. There's windows in the front from what I understand, but they're not there. They're all molded plastic, and that just bugs me. So, but those I think are slightly less curved because they are the 5.45 mags. They're not.
Yeah, the straight ones.
They don't. Yeah, they're straighter.
not
They don't
straight,
need to be
not
as
straight.
yeah,
Sorry, yeah.
but closer to a Stan Egg, right? You know.
Any one of you have the classic GHK AKM ones, the 762
Like
ones?
the stamped ones.
All
Yeah.
I've got is the PMags.
I have a bunch of those, and they are probably the most pain in the ass magazines that I have.
Is that the one where it's like 2 sheets of
No,
metal?
no,
that are, like,
yeah,
stamped?
it's stamped together, and it
Yeah.
literally is the classic banana mag.
Yeah.
You want to trade for some PMags?
Hey, those are straighter than the ones I have. The ones that I have are literally like a full curve on it.
Yeah.
Maybe the same curve. They're
like
pretty curvy.
they look
Yeah.
like my
Yeah,
banana.
But the GHK like classic like AKM ones, oh my gosh, are they like I have a hard time trying to fit them.
I mean,
That's
you've
the
seen
reason.
like, extended ones that were stamped, where they're
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
way
that's
over.
the reason why I
The
got
75 rounders or whatever.
It's the reason why I got a Smursh vest or a Smursh like setup, because like like AK, like you want to fit it as many mags as you can on you. So I bought one of those, and actually that was like the best idea, and I love the rig, and yeah, I could fit like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, like 12 mags on me. With that Smursh like setup, and it's beautiful, and that's the reason why I took it to Milsom West, is because I was using an AK as a militia, and use my LCT and everything that I had like going out for combat, like my GoPros, I fit in the back like what do you call it, the little back bag, the butt
Yeah,
bag,
the big old dumpy.
Yeah,
the
Your butt bump. Your butt
Yeah.
bump.
So yeah, I definitely agree that like you need specific gear to use the AK, but I mean that's really up to you to decide.
Yeah, I would disagree personally with that because
Yeah, I see you're using a plate carrier with it, but yeah, I mean
I think it definitely depends
guess-
on what you buy.
yeah,
if
I
you're
guess
going for
I-
the cheaper
I-
option, you're probably going to be more
I'm
limited.
a little bit of a purist, I guess, because
it is what it is.
yeah, you wanna go with what fits with the magazines, and I went for it, and I never regretted the decision since. And Smirches are nice; they're great.
They are good. They are.
I've got the mag. It's the two. I've got the seam here, and then it wraps around.
Yeah,
And,
Yeah, the old
yeah,
stamp
it's
style.
It's a steel
Yeah,
mag.
the old stamp style. Exactly.
Can't
Yeah,
find
those
it, but I have a high cap one of those, and you open it up, and it's just a nice edge to cut your finger on.
Ooh.
Not a mag I ever use.
Yeah,
it
no,
sits in a
it's-
bag somewhere. It's like, ugh.
No, this is a wall mag. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This is the finger remover 9000.
Ouch.
We don't use it.
Okay. Shall we close it off, Mac?
Yeah,
Or do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, you know what, guys? I think we could end up sitting here just shooting the crap for a long
Oh,
time,
yeah.
and I don't need to take up any more of your time. I really appreciate you guys taking the time that you have and dedicating it to us here, going into a deep dive of the AK platform, showing us and sharing your experiences with it and stuff like that. We'll be sure to check back with you guys in a future, more updated segment, because I would
Sweet.
definitely like to see where you guys are in retrospect of your collections. Maybe you got a new gun, Morris, maybe you finally finished that build. We'll
Maybe.
see.
Maybe.
It's been on hold because I've been.
I was
putting a
gonna
lot
say
of my money-
customs might be fair to you, might not be fair to you. I don't friggin' know.
A lot of money as reticles
Pray
is
to the airsoft
into the
gods.
Yeah,
Pray
yeah,
to the
exactly.
airsoft gods. That's
The
all you gotta do.
Airsoft gods, man. But yeah, guys, that pretty much point. You want me to just close it off?
Yeah,
Boy?
just close it off. Go ahead.
All right, guys. Well, that pretty much wraps up episode 80 of the Panther Airsoft Folding Table Talk. I really appreciate everyone that has, our 3 guests. Big thanks to you guys. The people in the live Discord that have been back and forth chatting and stuff like that and asking questions. Thank you guys for sitting by and making sure that you're part of this, brief preview to what is the main thing tomorrow, guys. There was a little bit of chit chat in there about where it is that you can access the full thing. So make sure you guys are following the Panther Airsoft Folding Table Talk YouTube page, and that way you can make sure you catch up and be with all of the details and updates that we are have scheduled for you.
Actually, I want to add something to that.
Oh, please.
If you guys haven't noticed, if you subscribe to our Spotify, we have video
Yes.
enabled in Spotify now.
Oh, legit.
Apparently, we are Joe Rogan.
We are Joe Rogan.
There's only
Hi.
apparently there's only a
Hi.
select few podcast shows
have
out there
to
that
yeah.
run video, and we're lucky to have one of them apparently because we have enough listeners and as well as content to keep doing this. So, guys, go to Spotify, like it or subscribe to it,
Follow
and
it.
follow it, and
Put it on while you sleep. I don't even
Yeah,
care if you
and-
Oh, I
listen.
can't wait.
Yeah, guys.
That's usually where I watch.
Spotify,
I was gonna be like,
I
Spotify
bore you to
gods
death, guys, so.
have given us an opportunity to do this, so we're gonna return them back by saying go to Spotify and follow our podcast there. Other than that, sorry, Mac.
Well, that's
yeah.
pretty much it, Poi. Other than that, thank you so much to our guests, Scott, Jesse, and Morris. Thank you guys for being on here, and that pretty much wraps it up, guys. Hope everyone has a great night.
All right. Say goodbye, guys.
Good night.
Have a good one.